Brilliant, thank you Andy. Welcome to Teaching and Learning Briefing from the Science Department. Today Amy and I are going to fly through some pitfalls that pupils have when learning new vocabulary that will hopefully resonate with your own subjects and briefly cover some strategies to help. We want students to read, understand, to think, to speak and to write like scientists. Essentially, it's like teaching a new language. In order to achieve this, we need them to be able to read, to understand, to think, to speak, and to write the words correctly. And I guess that's the same for every subject. So we've collated a list of barriers that students struggle with when attempting to learn new vocabulary. Some may be science-specific, but I'm sure if you did the same, that your list would probably look quite similar. In fact, teaching literacy is clearly a whole school issue and something we all need to work together on. Okay, so interestingly, researching this presentation has led us to the fact that reading age is something we need to gain a better understanding of. Not just a general reading age, but how that applies to our subject. So, for example, how many of these words could you use or recognise in a sentence? If I asked a Year 7 pupil the same question, I reckon they'd be pretty confident as well. However, what about if I asked you to speak them scientifically? Suddenly we have a problem that the word they thought they knew how to use, they didn't. So before we apply a new word to a new concept, it often needs to be retaught. Maybe this is similar in your subjects as well. So I asked the science team to come up with some of their common misconceptions, their kind of pet hates, as it were. I've called them the QI klaxon moment, the kind of the obvious answer, which is actually wrong. Hopefully you can see where, going through these, some of the students will kind of fall for the obvious mistakes. And maybe you could recognise barriers in your own subject. We're not going to leave them up for long, so you have to guess quickly, okay? So power in science actually means the rate of energy transfer. So it has a specific meaning in science rather than being powerful. Okay, a theory in science is actually fact. It's not theoretical. It's a well-proven fact. So words that look similar actually are going to make it difficult for them to get the correct meaning. This is my pet hate. So common phrases that we use every day, how much do you weigh, is scientifically incorrect. It should be how much do you mass. Okay, and synonyms that you guys will use every single day actually have a very specific meaning in science. So something which is a synonym in a synonym in a different subject is not a synonym in science. Okay, so we've got lots of different types of words there in terms of like verbs and action words, but in this specific case, 3 of them all point to something that happens inside a cell, and the other one is something completely different. It's just a group of organs. So, and this is a Year 7 term that they would need to understand. Okay, this is highlights the idea that we quite often have to reteach misconceptions in science. Okay, so hopefully we've given you some ideas that relate to your own subject areas, and Amy's now going to go through some strategies that might help you to overcome this.
Right, so the bit now the bell's gone that's probably useful to you. In science, looking at the AQA papers in GCSE, the reading age is about 16. However, the scientific language brings that reading age up. So to combat that, the carrier language that they use is for around a 13-year-old to try and make that work. But we've still got to focus on the specific, what we would call keywords. And I think we all use the phrase keywords probably too generically. So what does the keyword mean? Well, it means that it allows a pupil to communicate about that subject specifically and well, okay? So I quite like this bit, the idea that you categorise keywords. Are they a name? Are they a process? Are they a concept? And when you introduce them in your class, you have a set, specific way of doing so. Describe the keyword, and I think that's how we would all introduce it. Write it on the board. But the bit that perhaps that we don't do so much is get the students to say it out loud. Get them to say it when they're writing it down. That helps with spelling. Ask students to read the word as they're using it and then use it again and again and apply it to different situations. Okay? It's important that when you're teaching the word, you understand the word root and the student understands the word root. And that helps them to make links later on. So, for example, with us, chlor meaning green, they can then make the link with chloroplast, chlorophyll, photosynthesis. If they misspell, hold on, go back a sec. If they misspell the word, they've completely lost. So syn in photosynthesis means to make. So they've completely lost that. Things that they really struggle with, like sodium and calcium as metals, if they know the ion bit means metal, that can help them remember those key things. So some of the things you can do in your lessons, and pop them all up because we're just when you're saying the word, exaggerate key things. I'm sure loads of us do this without even thinking. Group words together that have the same meaning or same endings. Breaking words down as you say them, as students spell them. Making links with words that we already know and they already understand and build upon that understanding. And then for really difficult spellings, use things that are going to help remember those spellings. So they're just a few small things that probably lots of us do every day, but just bring it back to your attention and think about doing them. Hope it's useful.